Welcome to Three, a show about Federer, Nadal, and Djokovic, and part of the Tennis Channel Podcast Network. I'm Gil Gross with Joel Drucker and Amy Lundy. We move along in Roland Garros into the second week, into the fourth round, go the big three. A victory by Novak Djokovic over Ricardas Berankis in straight sets. Rafael Nadal over Cam Norrie, also straight sets, all 3-6-3s. Federer had the most troublesome time, as has been the case throughout the entirety of the opening three rounds, but gets through the 27-year-old German Koepfer 7-6, 6-7, 7-6, 7-5. We will hit on all that, and then the three all play the best of Italy. It is Italy versus the big three. I can already tell you that will be the title of the next episode of Three. I already know what the title is going to be. It's going to be the big three versus Italy. I can tell you that right now. Let's start with Novak Djokovic. I feel like the story here is that there's very little story. He gives us very little to talk about. There has been no drama. There has been no fuss, no mess. Right, Joel?
Oh, he's just playing so well. And again, Berankis is like, oh, that's a mini me. I know you. He's got Berankis under lock and key. And I watched some of that. I watched that match and saw how well Novak just so balanced, is so in control. Also his agility. I mean, I think we're going to be in the years to come looking at so many things that made Novak great. And again, his agility, and saw some pretty good touch today. But not troubled at all.
Mm-hmm. It was a match of quick work and short points. He won winning percentage on first serve 88% to Berankis's 58%. Served 63% of first serve in, which is right in the perfect wheelhouse. And in 0-4 rally length, he was 52-31. I mean, it's just, he finished him off quickly, and even within the points, he was finishing him off quickly.
And part of that is his return. It's not just the first strike tennis, but it's the neutralizing the opponent's first strike tennis. It's a stat that he's great at. It's also the same stat, the very stat that he needs to turn around if he's going to beat Nadal on clay, because 2 matches in a row, he's been destroyed in the 0-4 points. So I guess the question is, how can he do that? But first serve win percentage for the tournament I have in front of me, 86%, 75%, 88%. He is again, like, he's kind of in Australia mode, where it's like it's the classic Djokovic, where he's so competent from the baseline and he moves so well, but then he's beginning to really play what we would traditionally think of as big man tennis. But he's not really a big man. So it's a dangerous version of Djokovic right now. And I'm looking forward to the Musetti test, which we'll get to later. Anything else to add on Djokovic Berankis before we move on?
Well, just when you said that about, it's almost like the Australian Open, Roger Federer said that the courts are playing fast. So isn't that interesting that maybe at the moment the courts are a little bit more hard courtish? So that could portend something interesting in a potential semifinal.
So yeah, it's interesting. So they're playing like an Australian court for Novak. Rafa, it's his clay. It's literally his clay that he's won so much. And Roger had a match today that was almost kind of Wimbledon-like in its 4 overtime sets. So all these tie breaks and 7-5. So they each got their kind of like helping of their favorite of their ice cream flavor.
Right. Well, this is the first Roland Garros with Wilson balls in the springtime. Last year was the first with the Wilson balls, but it was in October when it was cold. So, but you know what's been amazing this tournament, and I know that this is like a known fact about clay, but it is so much slower at night than it is in the daytime. And then when it rained in the Tsitsipas match, suddenly Isner's serve wasn't looking as fast as it was in the first set as soon as it rained. It was very interesting.
Good point.
Rafa Nadal, 3-6-3 sets against Cam Norrie. Do you know what I love about this matchup? Norrie matches Nadal for effort, which not a lot of players can do. Just doesn't match him for skill.
Yeah, they kept talking about on the telecast how Norrie, just to get his base level fitness, would bike and swim and run, and that was like before the tennis. And all I could think was, he did this for like weeks and weeks and weeks, and this is what happens to him against Rafael Nadal.
Well, yeah, but be glad that he goes this far, and this is what happens, and this is the legacy. This is the legacy of the greatness. This is whether it was Jimmy Connors and the intensity, Ivan Lendl and the fitness. I mean, this is what the great ones do. They compel everyone to see, this is what you got to be if you got to play with us. You want to play with us. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to beat us.
Yeah.
And Nadal again. I think both Djokovic and Nadal played opponents today who's like, oh yeah, you're kind of like me. Like Berankis is this kind of two-hander, pretty kind of solid, but not as good as Novak. And here's Norrie, who's left-handed and does some things with the ball. But again, these guys are just so good and so comfortable. And again, over the best of 5 format, again, that aids the more experienced player who understands the emotions and the ebbs and flows.
We talked about the lefty on lefty thing.
Mm-hmm.
I found the Norrie heavy topspin cross-court forehand to Nadal's forehand. I think there was like a little bit where that was strange for Nadal. It looked like he doesn't normally feel that shot. And then he really got the hang of it. But when you think about it, Norrie's topspin forehand is going to have a lot more revolutions than most backhands, righty backhands that he faces with all that loop. So I did think there was a twinge of like, okay, this is a little bit weird when Nadal was hitting, that lefty to lefty dynamic.
That's what the lefty thing is awkward, because you're used to getting the yield off the backhand. Even if it's a two-handed backhand, it's flat. It's not topped. So Nadal is probably used to kind of the ball bouncing to a certain part. It was a little different than it coming up, and the whole angle factor. And so yeah, my cross-court forehand's not hurting you. I'm used to it hurting a righty forehand. Yeah, it's kind of a little beguiling.
Norrie's backhand had 0 spin on it, though. I don't even know how that thing crossed the net. I mean, that's one of those players that the differential in RPMs and maybe even pace, backhand to forehand, is wide. It's a wide gap. So for me, that kind of player is very difficult to play. But Rafa handled it really well. The only thing was there was something going on with the time again, and he got a little testy about it after the match, I guess.
He talked about it. He talked about how we don't have ball boys, that the towel is very far. And then he says, I think he was trying to speed up the situations. He was throwing his ball bad for 20 times. So Nadal was kind of smiling when he said that. But I think we're moving towards something is going to go on in the pandemic, the post-pandemic world with the players in tournaments. This is, hey, wait a second, but the time clock can't be quite what it is. So we've got to figure out something else that's going on here with the towel and timing. Is it 5 more seconds? Is it something, there's also something going on with some of these matches where they, the changeover breaks are 60 seconds because they're not TV instead of 90 seconds. So there's a lot of stuff that everyone, and it's funny, it seems kind of, what's a few seconds here, a few seconds there, but these are professionals. These guys are so used to all the right things. I mean, it'd be like, I'm looking at my keyboard and, oh no, the shift key is located there. We just moved it. So all these little things that these guys are used to having such fastidious control over, that's what makes them champions, are a little bit in flux. And I can almost guarantee there's going to be some talk with the ITF, ATP about, okay, what's the deal with towels and points? And particularly once crowds return, where the crowd is yelling, we played a long point. How do I get my towel? The ball boy's not going to get my towel. I got to recover.
Yeah. I mean, my whole thing with the rule is that the returner deserves a certain amount of recovery time after the point. They just played a harrowing point too, potentially. So you can't have the server rush to the line and expect the returner to be there that quickly as well, and then have the server delay and bounce the ball 500 million times. It's just too much in favor of the server in that dynamic.
But then also the things with the towel is going to add things to it, because you can't have the ball can get the towel, so you got to get the towel.
Yeah.
So
There are loads of issues. I agree with you that right now, what's going on right now is it's not quite right, and I don't know exactly what the concoction of regulations and rules is going to need to be to make it right. Right now, it doesn't seem great, but let's make no mistake about what Norrie was doing. He comes from college tennis. It is a feisty game that they play in college tennis, and he knows that his only advantage over Nadal are his lungs. He said it before the match. That's all he has. So, of course, he wants to play some speed ball. And the fact that, it kind of goes back to Nadal has a very principled way of thinking, okay, this is how the game should be played. This is how you respect the game. You honor the game. You play this well. Norrie comes from college tennis where there's talking during the point. There are people hooking each other with lines calls, which is really not right at all. And I would completely disapprove of that in every stretch. Don't get me wrong. But they are coming from completely different worlds. Of course, they're going to clash. I like that friction, though. I think it's great.
Yeah, Koepfer comes from college tennis too, and apparently it's okay to spit on ball marks.
Didn't cost him. That cost him though.
Yeah,
but
that was weird. I don't know if he was trying to be funny. What do you guys think? Was he trying to be funny?
I think it was just funny, and he was just uncomfortable. It was just like I wrote this in my story. I said, it was a Sunday morning. The older guy was playing the younger guy. This Sunday morning was just a little after midnight. But it was the older guy playing the younger guy. And I think Koepfer was a little, at enough moments, he just kind of blinked the way the younger person does. And he blinked on that occasion. But then Federer couldn't take advantage of it well enough. I mean, I think that was a segue into Federer. Federer just couldn't quite take advantage of his leads. So he kept making it harder for himself.
Can I just ask one more question on the timing thing? I have one more question. Yeah. Should a player be allowed to catch their ball toss?
I say yes.
It's so funny. I was thinking about this today. Of all the wild rule changes that people want to make, like these playing lets on the serve and changing, the scoring system in the sets and stuff, I'm wondering how I feel about just having to hit any ball toss. That could make things really interesting. Right now, I'm going to say no, but if we ever get to a point in the game where the server is being advantaged to such a point that it's just making everything boring, then I would say yes, let's consider that.
Or do you think you get one? Do you get one yip per serve? In other words,
the thing is, it's being with the every time there's an action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, or there's a domino effect. They put in the shot clock, right, to try to limit the time. Immediately, the players found the hack, which is, I'll just throw the ball toss, and then the clock just resets. And I haven't done any research on this, but just from the eyeball test, I can tell there's more caught tosses now. So I don't know, man. What do you guys think on this?
No, I think it's fine. I think some of these things like playing lets, I don't think these things speed things up particularly too much. Playing lets was put in college tennis to eliminate cheating. Whereas I think in pro tennis, I think it's fine. I don't think it happens too often that people retract tosses. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Gil?
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't happen too often for most players. I mean, there are your oddballs. I mean, Sarah Irani catches a million tosses, and I think I don't see any reason. I don't think you should be allowed. You start your serve. The toss is part of the serve. Hit the toss. In table tennis, I know you may not catch your toss. You must hit the ball. And I wouldn't mind if you had to hit it. I think you should have to hit it. But I don't have logic behind this. This is just a feeling that I have that when you toss the ball, you should have to hit it.
Do people have errant tosses in table tennis?
You have to, well, here are the rules of table tennis. You have to toss it 6 inches above the table. So you must actually toss the ball. A lot of American, casual players won't toss it at all. That's illegal in the real world of table tennis. And you must hit the ball.
You have to toss it. It has to, the ball, what do you mean you have to toss it 6 inches here? The ball has to go 6 inches, or your hands has to be 6 inches?
the ball must go 6 inches above the table, I believe, or 6 inches above the table, and I believe it must be on its way down before you can hit it.
Well, but yeah. So, and then I think in tennis, though, I don't know. I think I don't know. It's I just to bring the playing thing into it. I hardly ever retract a toss. What do you guys? You guys?
Yeah, I probably do it once or twice a match. Sure.
Do you say sorry, mate, like after?
You want to know something funny to get totally off topic? The only time I say sorry is in doubles to let my partner know, hey, the serve's not coming. I just caught a toss.
Stop
I don't
crouching at the net, right?
Or don't try to time it on my bounce because I just caught the toss. Just to let my partner know as a courtesy. I don't say sorry in singles. Sorry.
That's very kind. No, that's very kind to your doubles partner. I like that. Let's move on to Federer. All right, this was tight. This was a little bit crazy. I don't know. Let's start. Joel, what did Federer say after the match?
He just spoke about how he was glad that he got a lot of good information and he learned things, and this is the kind of match he needs. And a lot of first night session, no fans, hadn't played this person before. Definitely unique. I mean, I think Roger Federer in press conferences, man, he's just amazing. He just always finds like something compelling to say. And he talks about how he's still looking to find that form, that form to regard, and these things are stepping stones. Just very, very thoughtful.
I really like the quote that I read, something about, the big story was that there were no fans there, and Roger Federer has probably never, even going back to when he was a kid, played in an environment like that. And if you were watching the match, I mean, just his demeanor he was sad. And he really had to battle his own, mentality to get through this match. But he said in the post press conference, he said something about, I just kept thinking of all those fans watching on TV, watching some tennis on a Saturday night, and I wanted to play for them. I mean,
that is great, and I'm all for. I find that very sweet and nice, but at the same time, I think that if nobody was watching on TV, Roger Federer probably would have competed to a certain extent. And I totally appreciate the fact that he was out there with no crowd I thought his legs were probably feeling it a little bit. It was very late at night, an inspired opponent. And yeah, he competed, he focused, he had grit. It was admirable, but I'm not surprised. And, these are very, very, very competitive people. All three of our big three, I think, would go out there and compete as hard as they can because they hate losing tennis matches to other human beings.
Absolutely. I saw this is an expanded version of your tweet. I saw your tweet. It was perfect. I liked it. This reminded me of his match with Tennis Sandgren at the Australian, where he's playing this young guy who it wasn't Federer's power that took him through this match. I mean, sure, he hit his court openings when he had them, but this was guile and consistency and some defense, and a young guy not quite able to kind of like grab it when he needed to, and he blinked at some key stages. I mean, very late in the match. You'd see Federer was serving at 2-1, 40-15 in the fourth set. So you think, okay, here we go. He loses that game. And then you can almost see the energy go, and as if Federer's thinking, okay, I'll just keep holding. We'll get it to the tiebreak, and then that'll happen. Kind of like a Wimbledon match. And Koepfer was serving at 5-all, 15-love, comes to net, has this overhead, and instead of hitting the lefty overhead on the long line, angle, he hits it right back to Federer. Besides, the Federer lob was probably going out.
Yeah, yes. That was the point of the match.
Although you got to hit it. You got to hit it.
Well, I guess you got to hit it, but you don't hit it straight back to the guy. You don't hit it straight. You hit it angled inside out. So and even if he gets it, he's got a long way to go. But so a little bit of a youthful mistake, and that was enough. And that was kind of the blink. And then
by the way, amazing stab by Federer, and then he got it really low, made the volley difficult. Like it was also wow. I mean, talk about a 99.9% chance Federer loses that point and he wins it. Go on.
That's right. Yeah, and so then then that Federer wins, goes up 40-love, breaks serve, and goes up 40-love, and wins it at 40-15. But yeah, right. That was a key point, because it seems okay. Well, it looks like we're headed to a tiebreak here, aren't we?
Yeah, well, Federer was kind enough not to head to a tiebreak in that one in the third set, because the way the French Open does it, right? So,
You mean in the decisive set, or
yes,
right?
Yeah,
yes.
So
right.
So also, Koepfer was up in the third set. He was serving at 4-3. There are all these little moments, and those, I think, that's what really takes a lot of the energy. Is that when you can't consolidate a lead, it's like, oh, back to square one.
Federer got help. There's
That's
no
right.
doubt about it. He got a lot of help, but you should get help when you play world number 60 and you're Roger Federer. You're going to get some help, I think.
He gave help too. He gave help. I mean, so
Yes.
Federer couldn't take advantage. He had a set point early in the first set and missed a backhand passing shot. It wasn't that easy a backhand passing shot. And then he wins it a tiebreak. Lots of kind of like, okay, start over, keep going.
Just on the stat sheet, sorry to interrupt, Gil. Neither guy I thought served particularly well first serve. Federer did not get a lot of typical free points on serve like he did in the previous match. Koepfer really dominated the 0-4, which is surprising, 90-72, and Federer still won the match. But Roger's net points won 72%, 48 out of 67. And Koepfer on the drop shot, 1 out of 19.
He won 1 out
Well,
of
that wasn't, it's not points won though. It's that means he hit one winner out of his 19 drop shots. That one of them was a winner.
Oh, so the other 18, he might have even won the point.
He could have won some of those
without a winner. He could have.
Okay. Then that's the way Infosys is keeping that stat. That's a bad way to do it, because you really need to account for outcome.
Right. Because because maybe he passed him, or maybe whatever happened. Yeah, that's.
Well, let's go back to net points won. 72%. He still got it. Roger still got it at the net.
Well, the Nets thing is good. The net, and he did it a lot. He came up with but the serving stuff. I mean, you wouldn't expect Federer to get nearly as much service traction at night on clay.
Right.
I mean, there's about 6 degrees out there.
But that just goes to show you, when you take that element away from him, it becomes a lot harder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, guys, I threw 117 first serves. I had my eye on this number. Against Cilic, that was his total number of first serves, and he hit 16 aces. And versus Koepfer, with the same number of serves, he hit 4 aces. Now, he finished with more for the match because he hit more serves. But I thought that was very striking. And then you think about Federer's recent losses in majors that were a little bit surprising. John Millman at the U.S. Open in 2018, Tsitsipas at the Australian Open in 2019, before Tsitsipas had done much really. Grigor Dimitrov at the U.S. Open in 2019. Humid nights where Federer just looked a little underpowered in all of those matches, and I was thinking, wow, this feels like those matches. And I thought the main difference was that when Federer was tired in this match, he never got too loose. He never let his level dip too far to a point where he was really giving Koepfer free games. So I thought that was the key for him, is the mental focus, even when he was tired, because I think he still didn't play that badly. And then when he needed it at the 5-alls and in the big moments, third set tiebreak, he could have that spurt of energy, and he raised his level.
But it was craft. It was craftiness. It was craftiness. It wasn't so like raw power. And he needs, what we see is that he needs thin air. And he was talking about the information he was getting. Cilic, he got the information of just his own experience, because this guy's played 10 times. So he knows all he needs to know about Cilic. You get different information when you play someone you've never played before. And it's your second longer match. So that's going to be interesting to see what Federer got from it, how his body feels. I mean, he left his press conference at 2 a.m, so he's not going to sleep till probably like 3:30 or 4. And so Sunday, I don't know, you even have a hit. You got to play Berrettini on Monday. That's going to be really interesting.
Well, there's some noise that, and I think this is overblown a little bit, but there was a not out of the realm of possibility statement in the post-match that Federer said that it's a remote possibility or whatever, however he phrased it, that he could potentially withdraw.
No, well, I'm gonna read you exactly what he said.
Okay, do it.
He didn't take it. He said, we go through these matches, we analyze them highly, and we look on what's next, and we'll do the same tonight and tomorrow latest. Because I need to decide if I keep on playing or not, or is it not too much risk at this moment to keep on pushing, or is this just a perfect way to just take a rest? Because I don't have the week in between here and Holly like normal to see like what's best now if you count back from Wimbledon and so forth. It's just a lot going on. But having a match like this, knowing I could have probably played a 5th set, but not knowing how I'll wake up tomorrow is interesting, to say the least. Yes, it's definitely a different time right now for me. Did you guys meet me at the United Nations this evening? Was that a United Nations statement about something? Not? Yes. So
Roger, please do not treat this tournament as your warm-up. It's a Grand Slam. If you can possibly play, please play.
He told you he does.
Let's see what he does. Yeah, exactly. No, tonight was all I needed to see. He's right. He can't win this tournament. When he said before the tournament, I'm not going to win it, tonight was all I needed to see. He's correct. Like, he doesn't have it. It's not going to happen. It's too many players that he would need to go through. So I don't think – I don't know. Look, I'm never going to say – I'm never going to be pro-withdrawal. I'm never going to be pro-withdrawal. I'm never going to go there. But I get it. Like, it's not – it's like, what are we doing here at a certain point? But I think he should, there's a term in combat sports, going out on your shield, which is not the best because when you get brain trauma involved, it's a little bit of a, it's not great.
Stick with
but
tennis.
It is, I'm sorry, but it is a term in combat sports where a fighter will want to go out on their shield, which means they don't want the referee to step in too early. They'd rather get knocked out to go out on their shield. And this is kind of, I think, a good analogy for the decision that Federer will have to make. Does he want to go out on his shield?
Well, but it's also then what the game is about, because then it becomes this kind of pragmatism. And that's the thing that's always interesting from Federer. I mean, I believe he's never retired in a match itself. So this would be then the calculated, but it's like, it's going to be interesting of all people. And again, he said all along that this is intended as a tune-up. And of course, he probably almost like surprised himself. It would have been interesting if this had gone to a 5th set, because then we're out here yet another hour, 90 minutes. Who even knows? 2 hours.
Now, you guys know that I have the utmost respect for Roger freaking Federer, but I don't believe in entering a tournament and talking this way. Like, I'm not going to win. I'm using it as a warm-up. I might withdraw. It's just, to me, it's then give your spot to somebody else. I don't like it. I'm bringing
what if you ask Ben?
I'm bringing the salt.
Oh man. Okay, but what if you asked Ricardas Berankis if he was going to win the French?
Well, that's different. He goes out and just does what he hopes can be as good as he can. So he's not thinking. He's not. But
he deserves a spot. But he deserves a spot in the tournament.
He's earned a spot. That's right. So he earned a spot to see where he can go. That's always an interesting thing. I've asked players, how do you manage your career once you realize you're probably not going to win a major, and you're in sort of a 30 through 60 realm. Well, you keep playing because you enjoy it, and it's about competing and seeing what happens. So that's kind of becomes the attitude. But then you're right. If you're Federer and you've been to the finals 5 times and won it, and you've won 20 majors, what's going on here? I guess we'll all have to see what's to come. It'll be interesting to see how Federer wakes up Sunday, and his knee and his body.
I do think the Berrettini match will be, if he does decide to play, it'll be quite different. And I said that I thought the Koepfer match would be tough because the guy just doesn't quit, and that turned out to be true. Berrettini is a type of player that Federer has seen a million times before. Big serve, big forehand, not as adept on the backhand side. I think somehow he'll know how to absorb his pace. And I see this either going one way or the other, but I don't see this long, protracted match like there
So
was.
here's the thing. Okay, great point. Again, Berrettini, Fernando Gonzalez, kind of in a way played like that. The big forehand, managed the backhand. So yeah, Federer knows the style. Federer's beaten them the 2 times they've played. But so I think scheduling and court assignment. I bet you Federer won't play at night. I bet you that won't be a night match.
Well, they've been taking turns with that. So, I'm. Would it be Federer's turn to play in the morning or
Are the
in
women
the
going to take a turn? Do the women take turns?
Yes, Serena played at night, so there might be something with that. But I don't think they're not going to put on. Neither of these guys is going to play at 11. I don't think, and I don't think Federer wants that. But I don't think Federer. It'll be interesting to see what the jockeying around scheduling is. It's like, can I go second, please, instead of having to sit all day? Can I go second after first women's match?
I mean, they never do what I think they should do, but I would just keep the big 3 out of the night matches from here on out.
Well, that's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But I think in the meantime, I wouldn't be. Let's see, Federer. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to get to play second Monday. Let me play second after a women's match. And that means I know I'm going to get on fairly quick. And I'm going to get off fairly quick. Don't make me play third where I'm going to have men's match before me and I got to wait. I mean, it's fascinating when I've talked with players, men and women, about waiting for a men's match to end before yours. You think it's over. The guy's up 2 sets to 1 and 4-1. Got to get on the court in 10 minutes. It's set. And you got to wait.
Let's move on to Rafa Nadal's next match. It'll be against Jannik Sinner, youngest player in the top 100, someone who Rafa knows very well. We discussed this match even in the preview. I mean, we kind of had a feeling that this might be it and that this might be one of Nadal's stiffest tests in his entire route to the semifinal. They've played twice before. Rafa won 7-5, 6-4 this year in Rome. Really good match. And then last year at Roland Garros, Jannik Sinner served for the first set, ended up losing in 3. But when you looked back at the tournament, nobody got closer to taking a set off of Rafa. Nobody got closer than Jannik Sinner. So, Amy, why do you think Nadal has so much difficulty against the young Italian, despite total sets? Let's put it in perspective. 5-0 Nadal.
I actually don't think, wrong question to ask, because I don't think that he has much problem with him, because I'm working on a story right now on Nadal. Hopefully it's going to run on Monday. And I was looking at that match pretty closely. And, just beneath what happened, you can see that Nadal really did dominate him. And I don't think that 6 months or however long it's been is enough of a growing up for Jannik Sinner to be able to win this match.
I'd agree that I don't think he can win it, but I think as far as the competing thing goes, Nadal, if ever his statement about not underestimating someone is true, is genuine, as opposed to some of the ways that Rafa would say that about each of us too. But when it comes to Sinner, I mean, this guy is the shape of things to come. I mean, this is a teenager who's made his way up the ranks, and he learns from each time. I mean, it's going to be he's not likely going to do worse. He's going to do better each time with Nadal, and Nadal knows that. So Sinner has some of the contemporary tools that can work against Nadal, because he can hit hard and flat and really force him with depth. And so we'll see. Yeah, I mean, I don't like picking outcomes of matches. So Nadal, I think he's going to win, whatever. But Sinner can push him and test him. And so I think that it'll be an interesting barometer of Sinner. What do you make of this matchup, Gil?
I think if you look at seeds, let's say 10 through 20, Jannik Sinner is Rafa's toughest match. I don't seeds 10 through 20. Like it's difficult for him. Now, again, it's not Tsitsipas, it's not Djokovic, it's not Zverev, right? It's not. So yes, it's a level down from there, and Nadal should win. But I think Sinner's backhand will be the best backhand in it. I think it has a chance to be the best offensive backhand in the history of the sport. I don't know if he'll ever defend it like Djokovic or trade it like Djokovic. I think it will be, as a weapon, the best two-hander offensively in the history of the sport. And I think Nadal, with his cross-court forehand, has a real weapon to deal with. I think it makes it very difficult. I think the best thing for Nadal about playing Jannik Sinner is that the serve is basically going to be neutralized. So for Sinner to beat Nadal, he needs to beat him by winning neutral baseline rallies, which is such a difficult task.
Hello, Robin Soderling. I mean, in other words, that's so much the template. You know, two people have beaten him. One was Novak, doing what Novak does, and that's known. But Soderling was kind of the otherworldly experience. You know, it's like, for the rest of you guys, here's your model, here's your template. And Soderling, of course, did it that day with big forehands and big serves and all of that. So it'll be, of course, interesting to see. I'm intrigued to see Sinner, though. I guess of those three Italians, though, we talked about Berrettini, we talked about Sinner. Now, if we may, I want to talk about of the three Italians, the one I like most watching play is Musetti. He's the one I personally most enjoy watching of those three. I don't know what you guys think.
Well, why? Why? Just tell us why.
I think it's kind of got a bit of that slash and dash quality. I like the backhand. I like the way he's kind of got this energy. He's got this moxie. He's willing to take some cuts. Not quite as physical as Berrettini. You know, Berrettini's got more of the tight end fullback. Yes, it's an American football reference. I made it, but he's much. There's something kind of a little lightning-like about Musetti that I enjoy.
Yeah, he moves incredibly well, and I think that it will represent something that he hasn't seen yet, but I don't also anticipate a tough one there. Could be wrong.
First meeting between those two. Musetti's had a nice clay court season, but I also think that he's beaten a lot of names that sound really great, but then some of them they just don't play. They don't love the clay. One would be his first round opponent, David Goffin. He doesn't hate the clay, by the way, but it's just a good matchup for Musetti, in my opinion. He beat Hubert Hurkacz. He hates clay. FAA, who's been totally erratic. And then earlier, hardcourt season, he beat Grigor Dimitrov and Diego Schwartzman in Acapulco. So he's had some good wins, nothing close to the level of Novak Djokovic, and he's playing really, really great. But yeah, Musetti's electrifying.
If I may, though, Musetti, he beat on Saturday. He beat in 5 sets. He beat Cecchinato. Who does Cecchinato have a win over?
Djokovic.
Djokovic.
This is the Novak. This is the Novak. Kind of lacuna phase. And so I'm not gonna just be like a club player and say, hey, Lorenzo, you've got an indirect over Novak. See, you beat the
Joel,
guy.
Yeah.
He won Wimbledon like a month later, 3 weeks later. So he wasn't that bad. I know, but Novak was close. I'm telling you, I think Cecchinato played a great match. I also think, Amy, what do you think? I bet Novak was rooting for Cecchinato so he could take another crack.
Yeah, knowing Novak, he would. I, as a Djokovic fan, I wanted Cecchinato out of there. So, but Novak himself probably wanted another crack at him.
I think so.
Musetti, you guys, would you say that his preferred surface is clay? He's
by a million miles, actually.
Okay.
I think he's going to really struggle on the other surfaces for a bit.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, I could see that, but I think he's comfortable with the moving. And Novak spoke very well of him. I mean, they practiced, they know each other. He says, I really like how he plays. He's got a lot of firepower from both forehand and backhand. He can play with a lot of spin. He's got great feel, come to the net. He can play short balls, drop shots. Yeah, I think of these three Italians, he's to me the most eclectic as of now.
Yep.
The most variations in style, and we'll have to see. Or will he be completely cowed by it all and just be too Novak? But yeah, that's the one I'm most looking forward to watching actually.
You can see it maybe playing out as a kind of match that has some electrifying points, and Musetti really gets the crowd going. Hopefully it won't be the night match. But it's straight sets.
Safe bet, I think, that they play some great points. And I agree with Amy, though. I also would think straight sets. I think Novak's class compared to anything that Musetti's seen so far. And there are holes. Like, there are big holes. There are great things, but there are holes. I think Novak's going to just, expose them a little bit.
Well, the shot maker player, you don't want to be known as a shot maker. You want to be known as a consistent player who hits big shots. I mean, the early Federer was known somewhat as a shot maker, and you don't want to be known as a shot maker because that implies a certain streaky inconsistency. You just want to be known as someone who's really good and moves well. Yeah, and we said he's still forming. He's still in his formative stages, so.
I'm going to predict 80% or higher Novak first serve points won. That's my prediction.
On trend.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
That's a good call.
That's the call. All right, let's see. Big three versus the Italians. As always, we will be looking forward to the matches, and then we will record another one of these after the matches. So that'll do it for this episode of 3. Remember, we're available on all podcast platforms. Rate and review on Apple Podcasts. Leave a comment on YouTube if you'd like, and make sure to like the video. We will see you next time on the next episode of 3.